Hello and welcome, fellow users of the internet. My name is Noah and you're watching As Fidel Merchants. Alright, this is our last real episode of the Lord of the Rings sealed tier list videos. These are our colorless cards. I'm going to go ahead and make one more of these tier lists for certain cards that you should enjoy, but this is the last one you should watch if you're worried about your upcoming pre-release and doing well. Good luck again to all of my viewers. I hope you guys win. I'm rooting for you. Alright, first up we have Anduril, Flame of the West. 3 colors. I'm going to scroll in one more time. No. Yeah, maybe. No, that's way too much. Anduril, Flame of the West, 3 colorless for legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, create 2 tapped 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying. If that creature is legendary, instead create 2 of those tokens that are tapped and attacking. A+. If you open, this is probably one of the best cards to open. Pick one, pack one in draft. But of course, even in sealed, if you open this, this is going in any deck. Any creature can wear it. It gains you so much value getting to make 2 spirits every time, and then once you've made the spirits, now you have 2 more creatures to equip, and you're basically just going to have a non-flowing source of spirits. Cards nigh unbeatable. It's great. If you open this, play it. This is the definition of if you open it, play it, because it's colorless. It goes in any deck. Open this, win the games. Alright, next up we have Borrow Blade. 1 colorless, and artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever a equipped creature blocks or becomes blocked by a creature, that creature loses all abilities until the turn. Equip 1. I'm going to go ahead and give a regular B for Borrow Blade. I think it will play better than a C. Funny enough, if you watched in the gold section from the few of the cards that care about equipments being played, there's like 1 white legend, there's a Boros legend, and a Rakdos legend. If you somehow have those cards and you're leaning towards playing them, this card kind of like upgrades them and they upgrade it into like a polymerization of being a better card, and so it could be an A in those situations, but in most decks it's just going to be a B. Alright, next up we have Ent Drop Basin, 2 colorless for an artifact. Pay X and tap and put a +1/+1 counter on target creature with power X. Activate only as a sorcery. I think this card's going to be a D. You can begrudgingly play like 1 copy and make some of your 1/1s just a little bit bigger. Maybe if you have a few turns of like, okay, it's turn 5, I've turn 6 or 7, I've flooded out. Okay, we'll go ahead and pay 3 mana to make my 2/2 flyer a little, well, 2 mana to make my 2/2 flyer. Oh, missed again. Make my 2/2 flyer a little bit big, hope they don't kill it, and it's going to be that situation for a while. So, D for Ent Drop Basin. Alright, next up we have 2 colorless for Glamdring. Legendary artifact and another equipment. Equipped creature has first strike and gets +1/+0 for each instant sorcery in your graveyard. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may cast an instant sorcery spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to the damage without paying its mana cost. I think we're going to go ahead and give this a regular A, because the funny thing is as you cast the cards without paying... Wait a minute. We need deals damage from your hand. Okay. Never mind. I thought it cast them from the graveyard. Yeah, a problem with this part of the time is you're going to run out of the cards in your hand, so you've just got a really big first striker. They just chump block it. But it is still a very powerful card. We're going to keep it in an A and just keep rolling. Alright, Horn of Gondor. 3 colorless, legendary artifact. When Horn of Gondor enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Pay 3, create X 1/1 white human soldier tokens, where X is the number of humans you control. We're going to give this an A. If you somehow put this in a deck that doesn't have any humans in it, it's going to end up being a lot worse and go down to like a C. Because even though it does spot you one human, paying 3 just to make one more human, not very good. But hopefully you're going to play this as kind of a curve topper. Maybe even in a perfect world, you like have your board of humans, you make some of your good attacks, and then you have a few of the smaller ones you had from earlier. Then you play Horn of Gondor, activate it on your end step, make like 4 1/1s. You know, next turn, activate it in the main phase and then attack. Like, yeah, that's going to be really good. Horn of Gondor, kind of, you know, remember if you're going to play Horn of Gondor in your deck, you need to make some humans in your deck and make your human count, you know, relatively high. So, still an A for Horn of Gondor. Just have some humans. Alright, Horn of the Mark, 2 colorless. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, whenever 2 or more creatures you control attack a player. Okay, yeah, I don't play Commander. That's not real. Okay, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them, put in your hand, put the rest in the library in a bottom order. I think I'm going to give B to this Horn. It could maybe play a bit more like an A, depending on how many creatures you have. It shouldn't be that hard all the time to be attacking with 2 creatures. Also assuming that, like, knowing you have this card, you can maybe value some token makers a little bit more highly. And so that alone could help you draw them. But, you know, it just asks you to have some creatures to help you find some more creatures. And I think that's going to play enough like a B part of the time. It is still a rare. Inherited Envelope. When Inherited Envelope enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you, add a mana of any color. This is a D. Manalith sucks, and just adding the ring tempts you onto it doesn't make Manalith better. Alright, next up we are going to have a C. Lembas, 2 colorless. When Lembas enters the battlefield, scry 1, then draw a card. Pay 2, sacrifice Lembas, you gain 3 life. When it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, shuffle it into your library. It's kind of funny because, like, I don't think that after you resolve this, you're going to want to draw it again. Unless you're very heavy in the food deck and feel like you're going to want to randomly just draw a food off the top of your library. So there's that. It does also help the draw 2 cards a turn, which I think the Azorius deck. So it does help that too. It's still C though, but a good enough C. Mirror of Galadriel, 2 colorless. Legendary artifact, pay 5, scry 1, then draw a card. This ability costs 1 less for each legendary creature you control. You know, it's a D. Your opponent can just kill enough of your cards, and when you're paying 5 and 4 to make this card work to draw your card, you're not plussing. Not very good. Next up, we have Mithril Coat, 3 colorless, legendary artifact, equipment, flash, indestructible. When it enters the battlefield, attached to target legendary creature you control, equipped creature has indestructible. 3 mana for just indestructible, but you can move it around. I think this is gonna play like a C myself, but I could be wrong. Maybe 3 is not too much just for, you know, permanent indestructible. It is permanent indestructible. Maybe this is a B. Yeah, begrudgingly a B on Mithril Coat. I'm not that excited about it. I guess it all just depends on, like, how good of a creature are you saving with it. That's the real question. If you're saving a really good creature with this, it's good. If you're just winning a random combat to, like, you know, I attack with my 3/3 into your 3/3, block with their 3/3, you save your 3/3, don't do anything else, then this card's just a C. But we will see how things play out. Hee. Alright. The One Ring. The One Ring, folks. The ring to rule them all. 4 colorless, legendary artifact. It's indestructible. When the ring enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you gain protection from everything until your next turn. You play this, and your opponent's next turn, you definitely can't lose. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life for each burden counter on the One Ring. Tap. Put a burden counter on the One Ring, then draw a card for each burden counter on the One Ring. I'm gonna give this an A, I guess. Maybe I only give it a B. Okay, because I don't think in Limited this card glad I made it. You do get to draw a decent amount of cards, though, because you pay 4, and you're in step, and your opponent's next turn, you put the burden counter on it, and you draw the 1 card. You untap it. You know, you could maybe tap it, put another burden counter on it, draw 2 cards, then you have 2 burden counters on it. No, okay, hold on. I think I talked myself into this. You're essentially paying 4 to draw 4 cards. Okay. Put a burden. Being upkeep. No, okay. Draw 3 cards. Put a burden counter. Draw a card. Yeah. No, okay. You don't do that. So you do in the end step, you have 1 counter on it. You untap it, you lose 1 life. Then you tap it and draw 2 more cards. You draw 3 cards, 4 colorless, and you're definitely not losing. Okay. I had to think about the lines there for a minute, but it's an A. In all honesty, okay, I can't downplay it very much more. This doesn't ask you to have anything. This just like wants you to play it. I could maybe see, well, I could actually maybe see a couple of decks where you wouldn't want to play it, because you wouldn't want to play it in the aggressive deck, in some of the more aggressive decks, because you're not going to want to do it. I could also see some decks paying a little bit too much life, and then this is just kind of a runaway Phyrexian Arena type kind of thing that'll kill you. Yeah, I'm going to stick on A. If you play it at an A+ level, go ahead. You know, I think that you should maybe think, like, maybe think 2 thoughts. Like, 9 out of 10 sealed pools, you're probably going to play the 1 ring. 9 out of 10 of them, but you should know that there's probably that 10th where you're not. This is all. However, this card, this is ridiculous. Planeteer of Orthanc, 3 colorless legendary artifact. At the beginning of your end step, put an influence counter on Planeteer of Orthanc and scry 2. Then target opponent may have you draw a card. If that player doesn't, you mill X cards, where X is the number of influence counters on Planeteer of the Orthanc, and then that player loses life equal to the total value of those cards. A+. I don't know what this card does in the lore or whatever in Lord of the Rings, but I don't know why they call it Lord of the Rings. They should be calling it Lord of the Orbs. This card is absurd. It helps you draw and helps you kill your opponent. You're either going to find more gas to kill them, or this is just going to kill them itself. Love me some Planeteer of Orthanc. I think this is probably the #1 card I'm looking forward to getting to open and getting to play with. Love me some Orb of Orthanc. The Vial of Galadriel, 3 colorless. For a legendary artifact with tap, add 1 mana of any color. And I know I said Manalith isn't good, but this next text is important. If you would draw a card while you have no cards in your hand, draw 2 cards instead. If you would gain life while you have 5 or less life, you gain that much life instead. I think I'm going to put this in C, because we do talk about cards being cards that are good when you're winning aren't good, but also to a certain degree, cards that are only good when you're really losing aren't good either. So we need to keep that in mind, because like there's some times where you're going to be at like parity, and you're holding like a couple of removal spells waiting for your opponent to play something good enough to go ahead and fire them off, and that's going to make Vial of Galadriel not that much better. And a lot of the times you're going to be floating at around 10, you're not going to be below 5. So like, but in those situations where it helps bring you back from the edge of loss, it's going to be good. So I'm going to just stay on C for Vial of Galadriel. Shire Scarecrow, F. Card's really bad. It's 2 mana for an artifact creature Scarecrow with Defender. Pay 1, add 1 mana of any color, activate only once each turn. It's an F. Don't put it in your deck. Sting, the Glinting Dagger. Legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has haste. At the beginning of each combat, untap equipped creature. Not entirely sure what that's for, but we'll see. Equipped creature has first strike as long as it's blocking or blocked by a goblin or an orc. Yeah, I think I'm gonna make Sting a B. I think I said the One Ring is 9 out of 10 decks, and the Sting is probably going to be 8 out of 10 decks you would play it, but there's going to be enough of the time where you probably wouldn't, because you don't really care about giving one of your creatures just +1/+1 in haste. It's really not all that relevant. It's not really sure about what I'm supposed to be thinking about this untap each combat if able ability, and, you know, there's only like a few of the archetypes that are actually going to be having goblins or orcs, and you know your opponent's then just not gonna block that creature with their goblins or their orcs. And that's just that simple. So yeah, just a B for Sting, but it is a good card. You'll play it some of the time. Stone of Erech. One colorless, legendary artifact. If a creature an opponent controlled would die, exile instead. Pay 2, sacrifice the Stone of Erech, exile target player's graveyard, draw a card. I'm going to give this a D, but it has a sideboard grade of higher. You definitely should know that this card is in your pool, and if you see your opponent have one of the silly graveyard cards like the white reanimate spell or any of the green-black good stuff, bring this in and have it ready. Have it on the ready. It is borderline good enough to be a C and just play it in your deck, and then if if you don't see any graveyard stuff, just sack it and draw your card, but not quite. Alright, next up we got Wizard's Rockets. We got one colorless. Wizard's Rocket enters the battlefield tapped. Pay X, sacrifice Wizard's Rockets, add X mana in any combination of colors. When it's put into the graveyard, draw a card. So the funny thing about this is you would still play it in just a 2-color deck, because you just tap it for 0 and then just draw your card. So it's got like, it's 1 mana, suspend, draw a card, and that's pretty good. So I actually do really like this card. If you get to play it in a deck that cares about drawing 2 cards a turn, it's going to be really good. I feel like you're also going to, if you get lucky enough to have Samwise Gamgee in your deck, and then if you copy of Wizard's Rockets, you have to just pay 3 foods to put this back under the hand or the battlefield, and just draw another card and keep going like that. So yeah, that's Wizard's Rockets. Let's save all the rare lands for the next, and then we'll do more of the rare lands in order. We'll just get through this card. This card's actually like an F. It's going to hurt you more the time, and it's going to help you, because just being colorless is going to make your regular spells harder to cast, and it's not like a lot of those legends that we looked at were just like insanely hard to cast. The Grey Havens, I think, is only a D. You'll be able to play it in enough decks, but I wouldn't play it in any of my gold decks, because putting one of your legends in your graveyard is probably going to be a little bit harder than it asks. But just, you know, scry 1 on a colorless card that's colored part of the time isn't unputtable in your deck. Definitely don't ever play 2 of them. This certainly is not worth the risk of ever having to legend rule them. Yeah. Alright, next up we have Mount Doom. Heard a lot of people complaining about this card in the lore, but, you know, cry about it. Mount Doom, legendary land, pay 1 life, add a black or a red, pay 1 colorless, a black, and a red tap. Mount Doom deals 1 damage to each opponent. Pay 5 black, red, sacrifice Mount Doom and a legendary artifact, choose up to 2 target creatures, then destroy the rest, activate only as a sorcery. I am going to give Mount Doom an A. If you can make either black, if you are in a deck that is either black or red, either of them, I don't even think you need both, you'd play it. It might deal you some damage, but it's worth it, and especially if you're in a deck that is interested in getting to the late game, having this ability to just kind of hold up your mana for a removal spell or an activated ability and then slowly kill them, is going to be pretty good. I like Mount Doom enough, and if you get to be in Rakdos, card's amazing. Same I think I actually want to give LotR an A+, because it's true about all the things I said about this. As long as you're black, so like 5 out of 10 archetypes, but this is completely, you would never cut this from any black deck. That, and I also really like this. I might be using a little bit of personal bias on this, but it's my tier maker. Enters the battle. Legendary land enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary creature. All of this land cycle says that. Tap, add a black, XX in black. Tap, amass Orcs X. Activate only if a creature died this turn. I think this card's really good. Love me some LotR. Same can be said for Minos Tirith. Auto include literally in any single white deck. I think any white. This is a real reason to be in white. Like said that earlier with what A+ is. I think if you have either of these cards in your pool, your deck's almost definitely going to be worse if you're not one of these colors. But I could be wrong. Tapped unless you control legendary land. Pay a white and a colorless. Draw a card. Activate only if you attack 2 or more creatures this turn. Good card. Have creatures in your deck. Draw some cards. Minos Tirith. This card's not quite as good. I think I'm going to put Mines of Moria in B, and the reason is because even though it is fine, you'd never cut it from a red deck. But Mines of Moria in the battlefield tapped unless you control legendary creature, pay 1 red, pay 3 in a red, exile 3 whole cards from your graveyard, create 2 treasure tokens. Having it's this and then 4 more lands, so on turn 5, you're going to hold up all your mana, do nothing, and then hopefully have 3 cards in your graveyard, and then go ahead and make some treasures. That doesn't feel like that powerful an ability to me. I'm just going to give this a B. But this does definitely help you cast Balrog. Don't forget about that, I guess. Conversely, I do think I'll give Rivendell an A in his battlefield unless you control a legendary creature. Colorless and a blue. Scry 2, activate only if you control a legendary creature. Shouldn't be that brutal considering the fact the ring tempting you always makes a legend. Good piece of thing to keep in mind. And we've seen how Ludicrous Castle Vantress is constructed. I feel like this card will help as well. Repeatable Scry 2 is almost draw cards, since it always puts a land to make sure you're always drawing gas. Good A for Rivendell. The Shire, same reason. Oh, tap an untapped creature. Oh yeah, this card. Oh, better than Rivendell. You get to always activate it for free. Not free. You have to have 1 other creature, but that shouldn't be too hard in your green decks. You always get to make food. Steady stream of food. Even if you're not using them for the abilities, you're using them for not dying. So, the Shire, A. And last but not least, Shire Terrace, A+. Because it taps for a colorless, so you can still curve out with Shire Terrace if you have all the access to all the land colors you want. Then if you have the extra time or are going to need the mana your next turn, you can pay 1 and sacrifice it to go get a basic land and put it on the battlefield tap. Really love me some Shire Terrace. I think it's a super good card. It's probably going to make your cards, including all of your gold decks, even just your 2 color decks, every time. Okay. Oh man, alright. It's getting kind of late on me, but that'll be alright. Download image. You guys get to see that part. We'll back out of here just a little bit. Alright, yep, there's our A pluses to F. Maybe I'll go out one more time. Yeah, whatever. Okay, that looks fine enough. The last of the important ones of these videos. Thank you again, everyone, so much who has watched these videos. I do truly appreciate it. You have no idea. Good luck, everyone out there in your pre-releases. Good luck at any of the RCQs you might have to go to. Hopefully, I'll be posting some more competitive content about this format soon. Like the video if you like the video, please. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and share this content to anybody who might like it. It really does help out a ton. And thank you all again just so much for your support. And I can't wait to make another video for you guys. Goodbye.